Kanye West has said every offensive thing that you can think of to say. Think of the most offensive thing that you can think of that you wouldn't even utter to say in a private room. He said it on Twitter. He said, I promise, whatever is in your mind, he said it. And it's this weird area where people don't know what to do because he's not being silenced and he hasn't technically harmed anybody other than verbally. He said some terrible, disgusting, foul things. So nobody knows how to stop somebody with this much clout, with this much celebrity. There's also this weird factor of mental issues, possible bipolar syndrome, possible drug usage, possible medication that's not being handled correctly. I don't think anybody's experienced anything like this with a celebrity with this much fame, because Kanye was very important to the music industry. He was very important to people my age growing up at a younger age when everything felt, the rap careers felt a little baggy pants, a little gangster, like you had to be something. And then Kanye came through in a pink polo and he made people like me who weren't kind of in that life feel like, oh, I can still enjoy this kind of rap. I connect with this more than I connect with that, right? And I know a lot of people felt like that. The things he used to rap about college. He used to rap about being black in America. There were so many things that just connected to people my age and a little bit older and a little bit younger. And his confidence was something that nobody had ever seen before, right? Confidence was a little too much most of the time, but it was a confidence that we hadn't seen in most of our homes. And most of the homes that I was in, you were taught to be humble. And people had mixed definitions of what humble is. Sometimes people have definitions of humble to the point where you can't even admit that you are stepping into your greatness. You can't even admit that you are talented. You can't even admit that you're gifted in these areas. And here comes Kanye, telling you who's number one, telling you he's the best, telling you he's the best producer and rapper at the same time. Something that we hadn't seen a lot of before. And the crazy part of it all is that he was proving it. He would say that he was going to do these things and he would do it. And he would come back and say, I told you. There were some interviews where he would say he was going to do things and everybody would laugh and joke about it and say, you're never going to get there. 5 years later, he would do it. And just having someone be that brave and forward thinking and get those things done, he was a special part in a lot of people's lives. But what he's turned into over the years is impossible for you to stand up for, right? Even when, I don't even know where it started. I guess we could say it started with MAGA. He had these strong opinions and strong views that he couldn't back up. And a lot of it felt like he was just reiterating talking points that he had heard from someone or something or a group of people that he was hanging with, and he didn't really know what he was saying, and he felt distant from everybody. I remember so many people saying, hey, we just want the old Kanye back. Like we knew him, because it felt like we did. We just want the old Kanye back. I remember him going to radio stations in Chicago and him wearing the red hat and people saying, we just want the old Kanye. Like, we were willing to forgive so much. And it felt like at a certain point, he wanted to be hated. It felt like at a certain point, his musical ability began to decrease, but he still needed that attention. So he decided to just wild out and crash out in any way that he could to stay relevant. And as we watched his downfall, not only with the words that he would say, but in his music, it was one of the hardest crash outs that we have ever seen from a musical artist. And some people are still trying to comprehend what this means. right? For someone, like we said, that we looked up to, that was great in music, that was great in music as in rapping and producing, that was great in fashion, that was great in designing stages. He was the first in a lot of things. He created a lot of different artists. They were inspired by him. Drake says he was inspired by him. Kendrick Lamar is inspired by him. Name your favorite rapper. At some point, they were inspired by Kanye. So to watch him become whatever this is so disheartening. And it just puts a question mark on it. It's almost like, it feels hard to say, it's almost like he's not here anymore. Kanye passed, but he's still here. And he's single-handedly destroying his legacy. And people, he said so much to the point where you can't have sympathy for him. It's hard to have empathy for. You can't feel anything but rage, because how can somebody that you spent so much time listening to and rooting for tear it all down in front of you and just talk down everyone and everything that's ever supported him? He's eliminated all of his fans. He's eliminated all of his friends. He's eliminated all of his colleagues in the music business. He's torn it all down in the span of 5 years. So it's this weird, like I keep saying, it's this weird imbalance of, he's doing terrible things. He's also having mental issues, and everybody knows it. But we can't ignore the terrible things because he's having mental issues. What is the mental issue, and what is how he feels? And it's hard to decipher which is which. And this feels like the crash out that ends horribly. People don't know what to do. Do you delete all of his music? Do you throw away the shoes? Do you now listen to things that he also produced? Can you cancel somebody who wants to be canceled? Is cancel culture even real? There is so many questions. So I come to you to say, how do you feel about Kanye West? If you were a fan of Kanye West, how are you mentally processing being a fan of somebody for decades and having them become whatever this is? How do you feel about mental health and us championing and protecting people who are suffering from mental health issues until they do something this grand, this huge, and then it kind of becomes out of our hands to even say, hey, but he's got mental health issues. It gets to a point where it's like, somebody control this. What do we do with Kanye West?